licensed fitness instructor. Koury, thank you for your time this morning. Firstly, I imagine that are you normally in normal times found in a gym? Is that where you will be offering your personal training?
Yes, normally in a gym. Of course, right now these are very interesting times. So, um, just speaking to people online and consulting a bit on the side and trying to keep people active.
So here in the UK, we are and have a government, I was going to say mandated, that's the wrong word, government permitted period during which people can leave the house or leave their home and go for a walk or take some exercise. They can run, they can cycle, they can do whatever they want for an appropriate period of time. For a lot of people, though, who've never done any exercise other than in the gym, and I put my hand up here at this point, it is a weird time, isn't it?
It is. And honestly, I think let's start at the basics, right?
Yeah.
So these are strange times. The main thing for me that I tell people is just keep moving. Like you
Yeah.
said, people are going out and running and walking and such, and you still want to keep that 3 to 5 days a week, and it's something where you can also get your kids involved and allow them to walk with you, of course, socially distanced away from everyone else. A good way to get into the habit, and of course, I'm starting with the foundations at this point, but a good way
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get into the
yeah.
habit, yeah, yeah, yeah. A good way to get into the habit is create a daily schedule. Create a list with your priorities for the day, put a star next to the two or three things that are a must, and make sure one of those things is exercise. And along the way, you also want to create goals. So, in time like this, where we don't know how long this is going to go on, you want to create short and long term goals. And in our case, maybe a long term goal might be 3 months from now.
Mm.
For myself, I've always done a lot of interval training and not necessarily endurance training. So I've been working on, okay, let me go out and run. And every other day I want to run a little bit farther. And by X date, like let's say July 31st,
Mm.
I want to be able to run an 8K.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah. So in between that long term,
Yeah.
creating short term goals. Uh,
Is it a good time for someone to start exercising? If someone's in the position that I was 6 or 7 years ago and had never done any exercise of any kind in their adult life, is is this a good time to start? And if so, if someone is just curious, I mean, let's really go back to first principles here. If someone is curious about dipping their toe into the waters of exercise for literally the first time in decades, how should they start?
yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually really proud of the fitness community because once quarantine started, everyone launched onto Facebook and Instagram
Yeah,
and started
yeah.
posting different workouts. So it's something as simple as just going on Instagram and finding different instructors. Many of them are posting exercises for free, and there are a variety of different levels from the beginner. You can go on YouTube and if you want, let's say you want to start yoga, find a video on the fundamentals of yoga. If you're much more advanced, there's content out there like that. For example, one of my friends, Tyrone, he owns a CrossFit studio, CrossFit Lazarus here in Richmond, Virginia, and he's been posting 30-minute workouts and going through each of the exercises and how to move, what to do, and all of that.
Mm. And here in the UK, I must admit, I must be one of the few people never to have seen one of these because I believe his YouTube videos go live at something like 8:30 in the morning, which is the middle of the night for me. His name is Joe Wicks. Are you familiar with him? He's popping up on YouTube right across the UK and offering, I think, real-time live fitness lessons. Has his fame made its way across the pond yet?
I haven't seen him. Not to say that he isn't popular in America. He just hasn't been on my radar. But yeah, there's so many instructors just like him, doing these Instagram live videos and
Mm.
and posting on YouTube.
There's another really important element to this because I used to think when people said, "Oh, you'll not just feel physically better when you go to the gym and start doing exercise, but you'll feel mentally better as well. You get
Absolutely.
that buzz, you get the endorphins." I used to think that was just the kind of thing that people who went to the gym said. I just I didn't think it was true until I experienced it myself. Now, there's a serious side to this because we're talking about a very odd situation in which people's mental health concerns are becoming prominent, and people are really struggling psychologically with this. The psychological benefits of moving around and doing exercise are real and really important just now, aren't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there are a few studies out there that show the impact of fitness and, aerobics exercises in particular, and the effect on reducing depression and anxiety. And in part, it's because when you do these things, they promote better self esteem and cognitive function. And the cognitive function largely in part because it helps the quality of sleep and reducing stress. So, again, that goes back to what I was saying initially is making sure you make that time in each day just to move and do something and go
Mm.
outside. Even one thing that I'll do, I'll get a 24 pack of water. And instead of getting a little cart to put it on the cart and take it up to my flat,
Mm.
I'll
Mm.
just put it up on my shoulder and walk the 5 to 10 minutes up and carry it just to get that little boost of exercise.
Okay. So using household items, using your body's own weight against itself, doing sort of press ups and chin ups and all those sorts of things, if at all possible,
Yes, absolutely.
making creative use of what is around you, as you plainly are with the water. Now, obviously, here in the UK, Koury, the lockdown will be lifted in a way that at some point will probably mean that gyms can reopen. I suspect they'll be among the last part of the economy to reopen. Do
Right.
you think, looking at this long term, that gyms, given that they are sort of, even if they're not dirty places, they're quite sweaty, huffy, puffy places, is it going to be possible to reopen gyms in a way that is ever going to be compliant with social distancing?
Right. I think it's possible. I mean, it's really up to the individual gyms to make sure that their equipment is sterilized, make sure maybe it is spacing out certain equipment so people are
Mm.
much more distanced because there are some gyms where machines are crowded, and just being much more proactive in that way to keep people safe, because although the purpose of the gym is to get people fit and health well, to get people fit, the ultimate goal is to keep people healthy. So if you have people crowded and getting sick with coronavirus, it's counterintuitive. People are getting sick and it doesn't really help your business.
Yeah, and pretty much everything about the gym, unless you go at 3 o'clock in the morning, pretty much everything about the whole gym experience tends more often than not to be a crowded, socially undistant one anyway. And I don't really see how gyms get around that other than by limiting the number of people in the gym at any one time, keeping every second treadmill empty in the way that airlines are planning to keep the middle seat free, perhaps for a while.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of adaptation necessary, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. But again, it goes back to what you were saying earlier. If you don't feel comfortable going to the gym, you do have the option of, working out from
Mm.
home. Now, for me, I'm someone who likes to go to the gym and, lift heavy things and put them down, right?
Yeah.
But I've also taken the time to get resistance bands from Amazon and get dumbbells, and even taking the time to work on a different kind of fitness and creating different goals and becoming a much more well-rounded athlete. So you can look at it from that perspective as well.
Yeah, I've got a friend who was offering pretty much all of the money that's ever been invented to get hold of some weights that he could buy because that seemed to
Mhm.
be. We knew about the toilet paper shortage. There was a
Right.
shortage of weights as well because people realized they were going to be stuck in the house for a while. Do you know if it's easier now to buy weights than it was about 3, 4 weeks ago?
Oh, yeah, and honestly, I've tried to buy a few things and it's been tough, but
Yeah, yeah,
and the reality is for some people, maybe the cost of getting weights or just space, isn't accessible to them. So
yeah, yeah.
going back and looking at body weight exercises. Again, you can go on YouTube, you can Google it. There's so many different circuits, so many different exercises you can do, to just so many things you can do to stay active and stay healthy.
All right, Koury, thank you so much for that. Koury Wilson, personal trainer, licensed fitness